Space Shuttle. One of my favorite spacecraft. It was a giant rocket-powered orbital spaceplane. It put together a lot of the International Space Station, and one of the first things I tried building in Kerbal Space Program. So I present to you with my new best space shuttle, the Advantage, with custom-made RCS ports, and yeah. So what's up, gamers? It's Lucas D from the D-Bros Gaming Channel. Today, we're back here with another Kerbal Space Program video. We're going to be flying my newest and best space shuttle, the Advantage, with Jebediah, Bill, Bob, and you might not be able to see her, but Valentina's coming too. So, we're currently going up, as the footage shows. This thing is powered by three Kerbidyne KS-25 engines and two Nerva nuclear engines. And the reasons I use the Nervas is because they have an okay thrust, but the other reason I use them is because they're efficient and the propellant difference. They don't use liquid fuel and oxidizer. They only use liquid fuel. So that's pretty helpful when it comes to doing orbital maneuvers. And, not using and having propellant differences between the main engines. And it's better than something like the monopropellant puff engine, which is pretty weak. Oh, by the way, there goes the SRBs. Those are two kickbacks. Now we're just going up with our external fuel tank. This shuttle does take some inspiration from Matt Lone's Tatsu Space Shuttle, which used Mark III pieces for its external fuel tank. So yeah, but as you can see, I did not use RCS blocks. I used the inline RCS ports, and in the rear I made some custom RCS blocks. And yeah, so here we've got some hot plasma lapping the sides of the craft, but it's no big deal. I'm watching this back at 2 times speed for the voiceover, so it should be going any second now. And there it goes. So, I'm going to shut down the engine. I checked how much fuel I had left in my external tank, and now I started plotting out the orbital insertion burn. So yeah, plot the burn. Use auto SAS to align yourself with the maneuver node marker, and start burning. I did use the main engines for this one, up until the separation node on the maneuver node Delta V marker thing. Then I switched to the OMS, and when I needed some extra kicks, I switched back to that top main engine. When I was recording this, I was pretty concerned about that explosion, but I looked, and there was no actual damage to the orbiter. It was just damage to the nose cone and other parts of the external tank. So here's me shutting down the main engines just so I can do it mostly on OMS, but I do end up having to fire up that main engine on the top, that top main engine, a couple more times. And I have those canards there just for when we're landing. Just need to keep the nose lifted because in the original Advantage had no canards, and it just kind of it would nosedive. It could not pitch up too much. And I did make a little 747 to do a glide test, but that 747 just did not want to work on camera. So yeah, this is actually only my second attempt at flying this orbiter. The first attempt was the original Advantage, which had no canards, and it was pointed the other way on the launch pad. And I kind of ended up just nosing too much to the side, and I didn't get enough vertical ascent, and it kind of just messed me up. So as you can see here, we're doing the orbital insertion burn. I think about now I'm going to fire up the main engine. This is getting a little bit too close to our apogee. So, yep, fire up the main engine. If you're wondering why I can do that, it's because those two casings for the OMS have a oxidizer in them, as well as the anterior, as well as the piece of the anterior fuselage. If you look closely at the anterior fuselage, it is actually a fuel tank. I just zoomed up on those custom-built RCS ports, and I'm gonna fire up the main engine again, I think. I had to turn on the main engine a total of 3 times to complete the orbital insertion burn, just because the not so great thrust to weight ratio of the NERVs nuclear engines was messing me up. But as you can see, once I got into a quote-unquote orbit, I turned off the main engines and just left the rest of the burn to the OMS, just so that I wouldn't, crash back into Kerbin during an OMS burn. So, yep, shut down the main engine. We are in a sort of orbit, but an orbit that's dipping back into the atmosphere. So we're just going to stretch out our orbital line. As you see, I'm stretching out my periapsis. I did, halfway through this, I did actually take my phone and Google where Kerbin's orbital line or atmospheric line is. And it's around 69,000 kilometers or 69,000 meters. So I aimed for about 70,000 meters. And once I got that, I shut down the OMS and began unveiling the payload, which is a small communication satellite. Yeah, and it's deployed with a robotic arm. It's pretty cool, honestly. I won't be showing the landing here, mainly because the file got corrupted, but I will try again another time, I promise, to show you the landing of the space shuttle. Maybe in a better video, I'll deploy a different payload, maybe like a small interplanetary probe. I'm thinking about taking another probe down to Lathe, so maybe I'll do that next time. I don't know. Tell me what you want me to do in the comments. Should I take a small lander to Duna, Elu, Lathe? Should I just crash something into Joule or the Sun? I don't know. Just tell me what you want to do in the comments. So yeah, deployed the communication satellite. I opened up the, extended the solar panels, and just for cosmetic purposes, I pointed it radial out, so it is facing Kerbin. So now I retracted the arm. I don't know how to use the Cal 1000 controller, so I just had to manually do these, and I was unable to bind it to an action group. So just had to do it all manually, but it ended up being pretty good. Then here, I opened the cargo bay up again, and decided to take Jebediah out for a little spacewalk. I'm not using the breaking ground suits this time, because I wanted to use the normal suits because, this could be like a realistic mission. It's a space shuttle, and we're just taking up a small communication satellite. So, use the normal ones, go on a quick spacewalk, observe the cargo bay, make sure it's all good, and climb back into the orbiter. So, now I close up those cargo bays, and get ready, and then I started plotting the maneuver node. Oh yeah, I had to time warp the communication satellite away, and then I started plotting the maneuver node to get back to the KSC. I know that all the footage after the re-entry did get corrupted, and I no longer have it, and I can't replicate it. But spoiler alert, I did actually not have enough velocity to fully make it back to the runway, and splash down a couple meters short of a few hundred meters short of the runway. But it was still smooth landing. Most of the orbiter was intact, except for the nose cone. Not sure why I had to tell that, but I did. So yeah, just had to play the maneuver node a little bit more. Then kept time warping around. The maneuver node would shorten itself So I had to keep, messing around with it, as you can see. Just like moving it back so that the end of the maneuver would put me on a course to the KSC. So fire up the OMS, start burning. Since this was, toward the end of the mission, I decided I would put up the main engine a bit, slow down faster, and make sure that I could make it all the way back to the KSC. Because, I thought this could be really good. But, maybe I'll try it again next time I fly the Advantage. Which won't be too late, actually, because I'm thinking about flying the Advantage again. I had an idea. I'm not going to spoil the idea. But, yeah. I totally know what the next video is going to be. You should watch it tomorrow. It's going to be pretty good. So, finished the burn and pointed myself in the correct direction for a nice re-entry. And, yeah, let's just start time warping down. Not yet? Oh, yeah, no. There we go. Now we're angled correctly. So for this re-entry, this was a surprisingly clean re-entry. Every single part survived the re-entry. Yeah, every single part survived the re-entry, including those fragile little RCS ports that are up at the nose. So, that wing started getting a little bit toasty, so I rolled over a bit. The other wing got toasty, and it was time for re-entry. Yep, as you can see, hot plasma surrounding the ship. That nose cone did get actually very close to exploding, but my masterful re-entry skills with a Z kept every single piece intact. As you can see, did this very graceful and realistic re-entry. Not a single part broke. So, just gonna time warp down to the end of the re-entry. And this is pretty much where the footage cuts out. So, yeah. So, you are going to get to see the, yep, there's the KSC in the corner. You might have been able to see it if you didn't. Yeah. So, here, the footage got corrupted, and I ran out of footage. So, tune in next time. I did actually land this thing, not too gracefully though, but I did touch it down. Jebediah is still alive. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about anything. As always, subscribe, like, and yeah, have a good day.